Could the world of anime voice acting be changing? Well, let's talk about that. What's up, guys? It's your boy, and today I'm going to be talking about a new law that's coming to Japan in October of this year, and the effect that it's not only going to have on the anime voice acting industry, but also might have on the manga industry as well. It's a really kind of, I won't say niche issue, but it's not talked about a lot, and the only reason that I found it was through my Twitter feed from the Anime News Network, and I'm going to be kind of going through an article in hopes that I can kind of spread awareness to this issue and just talk about it a little bit as somebody who's in a business perspective, because this is a business concept, and I hope to bring it to a simpler level that you guys can hopefully understand. Because, you know, I'm an accountant by trade, and I've heard that accounting isn't exactly considered fun by most people's standards. So, if I'm able to do that for you, and if you didn't know about this issue, maybe consider leaving a like on this video, or even, hear me out, I know this is crazy, but there's a little button that says subscribe. If it's still red for you, maybe give it a click. It helps out a lot here, and let's get straight into the issue at hand. So Japan in October is going to be implementing a consumption tax. Now, for people who live in Europe who may be watching this video, it's very similar to the value-added tax. And that essentially says on goods and services that are sold, they are now subject to a 10% tax. Now, in Europe, this has been around for ages, but for Japan, it might have an effect on industries as it also applies, actually primarily applies, to freelancers and sole proprietorships. Sole proprietorships are businesses that are owned by a single person. Freelancers are people like voice actors or artists. People like that will be subject to a 10% tax on their invoices. So essentially, if an anime company comes up to a voice actor and says,
"Hey, we like your voice, we think you'd fit for this particular role,"
an actor might say, "Yeah, here's my rate, here's a bill." Now they have to charge an extra 10% on top of that. And anime companies would probably see this and say,
"Well, we kind of are working within this union. Why would we just pay an extra 10%?
And so that's really kind of having a potential negative effect on voice actors who are freelancers who just are trying to make money as voice actors. Voice actors don't make a lot of money. Voice actors, 76% of them, according to this Anime News Network article, make 21,638 US dollars or less. That's 3 million yen or less. That's not a really great income from a yearly standpoint. I mean, you might be able to live off of it, but it's not a lot. And these people are doing this kind of freelance work most likely because they love it. You know, typically these kind of artistic freelance type gigs aren't because they're going to make you a lot of money like somebody in the business world might make, but it's because you love it. Now they're being subjected to a potential tax that would maybe take away some of that freedom to do this work because they might have to get other jobs. Because 10% is not a small tax. 10% is a pretty hefty sum to be charging on top of your going rate. As you could imagine, with any tax increase come under some criticism. And I want to take a quote here from the voice actor for Kaji from Evangelion, along with some voice roles that he's done in Dragon Ball Super, Cowboy Bebop, and Lupin III. His name is Koichi Yamadera, and he says, "I think that this is a huge issue that affects not just the voiceover industry, but small businesses of all professions. Before getting into whether I agree or disagree with the system, I felt it was necessary to properly understand how it works and the issues involved. We don't have much time to start, but I would like to learn from this video," which the video is referenced in the article here, "and other experts properly." And essentially, this video that is in the article kind of talks about how the law, they say, was to address tax evasion and basically getting people, because these invoices haven't previously needed to be reported, and now they're basically saying, we're going to make you report it with this tax rate, right? And so this video kind of says, like, this isn't a tax evasion thing, it's just, it's just not, right? But that said, it is going to discourage not only anime voice actors from being freelancers and maybe having to try to get into maybe agencies or places where they have more consistent salaries, but it also affects manga artists as well, because manga artists a lot of the time are sole proprietorships. You know, there's the artist, the creative person who comes up with the concept, and then he's maybe got a team of 3 or 4 other artists, and they kind of work together. I know there's a video out there, I can't remember the name of the YouTuber who did it, but did a video on the writing process for Rent a Girlfriend, and it's him and probably 4 other people or so. And they work together to create Rent a Girlfriend. Now, he would be subject to this tax as well. But let's talk about the little guy. Maybe some manga you've never heard of. This guy's working with a team of 2 or 3 other people to get out this manga every single week. According to a manga industry survey, 98% of respondents were sole proprietorships. 98%. And of that 98%, over 20% feared that the invoice system, this new tax, will put them out of business. So essentially, with that said, this is going to have a major effect on the industry one way or the other. There's actually a manga artist who turned into a legislator, Ken Akamatsu, and he essentially said, we're going to wait and see implementation-wise whether this works, if it doesn't work, and to what extent it works. And it's going to be really interesting over the next few months after October through the end of the year, because October's when the implementation actually happens, and by the end of 2023, we should be able to at least have a preview of what the law is going to look like. So he'll focus on changing the law if the implementation does not go well. But we're kind of still yet to see whether that implementation is going to go well or not. It's completely untested in Japan and might have an effect on these industries that maybe they haven't quite heard the complaints of the people in those industries enough. Because yeah, if you go to a grocery store and you buy something and it's slightly more expensive, that's that. You might have to redo your budget if you're not particularly wealthy or something like that. But for the people who perform specific freelance services and do things like that, this consumption tax is going to really kind of hurt their bottom line and might get them not only less gigs, but also might make them have to consider other careers or do something other than the profession that they love to do, because it is such a hard industry to make it in the first place. As I said, I really just kind of wanted to bring awareness to this entire issue because as a whole, I've only seen it covered in the Anime News Network as it applies to manga artists and anime voice actors. I've seen it just from accounting publications, how it kind of applies at a broad perspective to everything, but I think that it deserves more of our attention for anime voice actors and for manga artists. And I'm just curious to see, once it's implemented in October, if we start to see less and less manga come out because of these kind of restrictive tax laws. That's about it from me. I've talked about pretty much all that I can with this issue right now. I think it's going to have more that comes out once the legislation actually starts being put into effect. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Japan vlogs are coming very, very soon. We're getting further and further on the progress on those. Hope you guys keep watching, because we got more stuff coming, and I will see you guys in the next video.